Hello everyone. So here one more piece of dialogue that is taken from the second lesson, Two Deer, written by Count Leo Tolstoy. So with this piece of dialogue, we are going to see once again how to change these dialogues into reported speech, or how to report the given piece of dialogue. So this piece of dialogue runs like this: Minister, the cost of execution will be 16,000 francs. The cost of execution will be 16,000 francs. Here, I would like to remind you, as you know, the letter was written to the French government to borrow a guillotine machine and an executioner to execute the criminal or to punish the criminal. So they told that they were ready to supply the guillotine machine and an executioner, but it costed 16,000 francs. And this point is very important for 1 mark questions point of view. So here, the cost of execution will be 16,000 francs. Ministers told the prince. And what will the prince say? Or what does the prince think about spending 16,000 francs on the criminal? The prince says that the wretch is not worth the money. The wretch is not worth the money. He opinions that can't it be done somehow cheaper? The prince wanted to do it some more cheaper. He was not ready to spend that much of money on the criminal, and according to him, the criminal does not worth, and that much of huge money should not be spent on the criminal because he worth not that much of money. So he further opinions that 16,000 francs is more than 2 francs ahead on the whole population. ಒಂದು ವೇಳೆ ನಾವು 16,000 ಫ್ರ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸನ್ನು ಸ್ಪೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ರಾಜ್ಯದ ಪ್ರತಿ ಪ್ರಜೆಯ ಮೇಲೆ 2 ಫ್ರ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸನ್ನು ನಾವು ಮತ್ತಷ್ಟು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನದಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ತೆರಿಗೆಯನ್ನು ಹೇರಬೇಕಾಗಿ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಆ ಒಂದು ಮೊನಾಕೋ ಕಿಂಗ್ಡಮ್ಮಿನ ರಾಜ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ತಯಾರಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಒಂದು ವೇಳೆ ಮತ್ತಷ್ಟು ನಾವು ತೆರಿಗೆಯನ್ನು ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಪ್ರಜೆಗಳು ಅದರ ವಿರುದ್ಧ ಬಂಡಿ ಏಳಬಹುದು. ಅದೇನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ? ದ ಪೀಪಲ್ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಇಟ್, ದ ಪೀಪಲ್ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ದಿಸ್, ದ ಪೀಪಲ್ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಗೆಟ್ ರೆಡಿ ಟು ಪೇ that much of tax. So here we are asked to change this piece of dialogue, or we are asked to report this piece of dialogue. So the first, the ministers says the cost of execution will be. So here we have an auxiliary, will be, the future tense, and this we have to change while reporting this piece of dialogue. ಈ ಡೈಲಾಗಿನ ಈ ಒಂದು ಭಾಗವನ್ನು ನಾವು ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿ ಬರ್ತದೆ? ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ದ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಡೈಲಾಗ್, ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸ್, ಮಹಾರಾಜರು ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ? ದ ರೆಚ್ ಈಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ವರ್ತ್ So here we have an auxiliary is. ತಮಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಗುರ್ತಿದೆ, ಈ ಈಸ್ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಇಂಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಪೀಚ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಈಸ್ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, ವಾಸ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, ವಾಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ಈಸ್ ಚೇಂಜಸ್ ಇಂಟು ವಾಸ್. And then let's move on to the second dialogue. The prince further says that, or he opinions that. So here we have one more auxiliary, can anta ide. That can is there with negative form, can't. So this can't also changes into couldn't in reported speech or in indirect speech. ಇಂಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಪೀಚ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಕಾಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, couldn't. What happens? Couldn't. So this we have to change. And then can't it be done somehow cheaper? ಇಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೆ ಆಯಿತು. So the next sentence, 16,000 francs is more than 2 francs ahead on the whole population. So here in this sentence we have one more auxiliary, that is, and as you all know, is becomes was. Okay, so the remaining things will be same. And if you move on to the next sentence, ಮುಂದಿನ ವ್ಯಾಖ್ಯಾನ ನೀವು ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಂಡಾಗ the people will not stand. Here again the sentence is in a negative form. The sentence is in negative form. So here we have an auxiliary called will, and while changing this sentence into indirect speech, this will becomes would, so that you know. So these are the things we need to change while changing this piece of dialogue into reported speech. ಆಮೇಲೆ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟನ್ನು ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಪ್ರತಿ ವ್ಯಾಖ್ಯೆಯಲ್ಲಿ 2 ಭಾಗಗಳು ಇರ್ತವೆ. We have 2 parts of the sentence. So the first part is reporting verb, and the second part of the sentence is reported speech. In between these 2 parts, we need to use some reporting verbs. ಕೆಲವು ರಿಪೋರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ವರ್ಬ್ಸ್ಗಳನ್ನು ಬಳಸಿಕೊಂಡು ನಾವೇನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಸೆಡ್ ಅಂತಾದರೂ ಹೇಳಬಹುದು, ಟೋಲ್ಡ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಬಹುದು. ಓಕೆ, ಈ ಥರ. ಸೊ ವಿತ್ ದಿಸ್ piece of information about what things need to be changed while changing something into reported speech. So now let's move on to the second slide where we have the answer to this question. So the minister informed the prince that. So here we have informed. So this is the reporting verb here. The minister informed the prince. The ministers brought the information to the prince saying that it would be 16,000 francs. They had to pay 16,000 francs to borrow a guillotine machine and an executioner. And this information was brought by the ministers to the prince of the Monaco kingdom. So they informed the prince. So here this is reporting verb. The minister informed the prince, and that is used as a conjunction. ಏನು ಹೇಳಿದರು? The cost of execution would be, as I have told you in the previous slide, there was an auxiliary will be, and that will be now changed into would be 16,000 francs. So this is how we changed a direct speech into indirect. Now here it is completed. So the next, to this the prince remarked. So here we have one more reporting verb. Remarked that as conjunction, the wretch was not worth the money. You know that in the previous slide we have an auxiliary here in this sentence, that is, and that is now changed into was. ಹಿಂದ್ಗಡೆ ಇರುವಂಥ ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ನೋಡಿದ್ರಿ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಈಸ್ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಆಕ್ಸಿಲರಿ ಇತ್ತು. ಆ ಆಕ್ಸಿಲರಿ ಇವಾಗ ಏನಾಯಿತು? ವಾಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಬದಲಾಯಿತು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ರಿಪೋರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ವರ್ಬನ್ನು ರಿಮಾರ್ಕ್ಡ್ ಅಂತ ಬಳಸೀವಿ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅಸರ್ಟಿವ್ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸನ್ನು ನಾವು ಒಂದು ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ನಿಂದ ಇಂಡೈರೆಕ್ಟಾಗಿ ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಅನ್ನು ನಾವು ಏನಂತ ಬಳಸ್ತೀವಿ? ಕಂಜಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಗಿ ಬಳಸ್ತೀವಿ. The prince remarked that the wretch was not worth the money. ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಈ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಆಯಿತು. ಮತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಎಸ್ ಆರ್ ನೋ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಇದೆ. ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಅಥವಾ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ನಾವು ಯಾವ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ವರ್ಬನ್ನು ಬಳಸಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಏನಿದೆ? ಆಸ್ಕ್ಡ್ ಅಂತ ಇದೆ. ಸಿನ್ಸ್ the dialogue is in a question form, asked is used as a reporting verb. He refers to the prince. The prince asked whom? The ministers. Then whether is used as a conjunction. Yes or no question ಅನ್ನು ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ನಿಂದ ಇಂಡೈರೆಕ್ಟಿಗೆ ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ನಾವು ಯಾವ ಪದಗಳನ್ನು ಕಂಜಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಗಿ ಬಳಸ್ತೀವಿ? ವೆದರ್ ಆರ್ ಇಫ್. ವೆದರ್ ಆರ್ ಇಫ್ ಅನ್ನು ಕಂಜಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಗಿ ಬಳಸ್ತೀವಿ. ಒಂದು ವೇಳೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ವೆದರ್ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಪದವನ್ನು ಕಂಜಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಗಿ ಬಳಸೋದರಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಫಿಕಲ್ಟ್ ಆಯ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ನೀವೇನನ್ನು ಬಳಸ್ತೀರಿ? ಇಫ್ ಅನ್ನು ಬಳಸ್ಕೊಡ್ರಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ವೆರಿ ಈಸಿ ಫಾರ್ ಯು. He asked the minister whether, or you can also use if it couldn't be somehow done cheaper. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಂಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಬಿ ಡನ್ ಅಂತ ಇತ್ತು ಪ್ರೀವಿಯಸ್ ಸ್ಲೈಡಲ್ಲಿ, ಅದು ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಪೀಚ್ ಇದೆ. ಇವಾಗ ಇದು ರಿಪೋರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಇಂಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಪೀಚಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಂಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಬಿ ಇರೋದು ಕುಡಂಟ್ ಬಿ somehow done, couldn't I? Okay na? He asked the minister whether it couldn't be somehow done cheaper. He added that, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಫುಲ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಗಿತು ಅದು. He added that 16,000 francs were 16,000 francs are ಅಂತ ಇತ್ತು. ಇವಾಗ ಇಂಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಪೀಚಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಏನಾಯಿತು? were. 16,000 francs were more than 2 francs ahead on the whole population. You see, the remaining sentence is as it is. There is no change at all. So here we changed only an auxiliary, that is was, and that was changed into were. And the next, he further said that, again we used one more reporting verb, that is, he further said. He added more to his previous dialogue, that is, he further said that people would not stand it, will not stand it, that will became would not stand it, would not stand it. So this is how we can change a direct speech into indirect speech. And while changing a piece of dialogue from direct to indirect, we have to keep in mind the things which we need to change from direct to indirect. And we need to change some pronouns which are used in the dialogue, and then we need to change tense, pronouns, and tense. These are the things we need to keep in mind while changing a piece of dialogue from direct to indirect. Hope you got the point. If you still find any doubts, you can give your feedback and you can ask your doubts through WhatsApp. Thank you.